My name is Joe. These are just opinions. I am Joepinionated. Find me at my friend Joe here on YouTube. Today, I am ranking the studio releases from ACDC, a bunch of Scottish guys from Australia. Done a lot of episodes on ACDC in the past. I've never ranked the albums before. I don't think my ACDC rankings will be very offensive to anybody. No disrespect to any of these albums either. I'm just ranking them against other ACDC albums. The worst ACDC albums would be a great rock album for a lot of groups, straight up. 16 albums here. I'm going from the international release of High Voltage in 1976 until their last album, Power Up, in 2020. Anyways, the albums 1 to 16, 1 to 16. So number 16, I've got Blow Up Your Video. Do I really? Oh, that's not right. All right, I'm changing that. Number 16 for ACDC albums, I'm going with Fly on the Wall, 1985. They don't have Phil Rudd on drums for these albums for a couple here in the 80s, and it really hurts. A rough patch in the songwriting, many years on the road at this point, and they've been through a lot with the loss of their lead singer. I've got this one ranked the lowest. Does have some songs I really like: Sink the Pink, Shake Your Foundations, Fly on the Wall. That's pretty much it. Number 15, I'm going with the follow-up album, Blow Up Your Video. Once again, no Phil on the drums on this one. You've got Cliff, Brian, Angus, and Malcolm, brothers Angus and Malcolm Young. Started the band. Their brother George had made it big in Australia and kind of got them into the business, but they were, like a family of musicians growing up. Very interesting history to ACDC. Check it out. Blow Up Your Video. I remember thinking it was super cool when I was a little kid. For sure. Heat Seeker was awesome. I just thought Angus was like a superhero to me. And that's pretty much it. Like, there's not a whole lot of other great stuff on there. It's just very 80s ACDC, which is not the greatest. This period is not the greatest. Number 14 comes from 2014. This is actually the tour I went to, the Rocker Bus tour. Loved it. Me and my sister were right on the walkway there where Angus comes out and does Let There Be Rock. Really cool. This one had Rock or Bust, had the song Play Ball. Dogs of War was a cool track. I remember liking this album. I remember listening to it a fair bit, but just not as great as the old stuff. This is the first album after Malcolm Young passed away. Malcolm Young was the main songwriter for AC/DC the entire time, right? It does give it a different flavor too, right? Because they brought in, I think it was like their nephew or cousin or something like that, Stevie Young. And Phil Rudd is on this one. They still have some songs from Malcolm on this one. Malcolm had severe dementia and had to leave the band. Number 13, I'm going with their last album from 2020, Power Up. It's actually a pretty good album. Liked it a fair bit, listened to it a lot. COVID days, it came out just before Christmas in 2020. Liked it. Shot in the Dark was a cool track. Right, number 12 from 2008, Black Ice. So one that had Rock and Roll Train. I thought that was a pretty cool hook. Black Ice is the title track, was kind of a cool song. War Machine, I remember listening to that one quite a bit too. Big Jack was a good song. Malcolm's last major contributions were on this album, Black Ice. Number 11 comes from 1983, Flick the Switch. Is this the one where Phil Rudd quit? It's been a while since I dug into the history of AC/DC, but I think this is when Phil Rudd left. I know he's on the album. Maybe this was his last album before he came back 10 years later on Ball Breaker. I like this album. Very 80s production on this album. I think this album gets more hate than it deserves, really. And I know it's not high up on my list by any means, here at number 11, but we're talking AC/DC, powerhouses in rock music. Cool album, Flick the Switch. Number 10 comes from 2000, Stiff Upper Lip. Another one, when going back to it, I like it a lot more. I remember when it came out at the time, I wasn't into it. I wasn't as big into AC/DC at that time. I came back to this album later and actually quite like this one. Safe in New York City is one of my favorite AC/DC tracks. Stiff Upper Lip, obviously another great song. But I think they keep the blues rock going pretty good throughout this album. And Can't Stop Rock and Roll, Satellite Blues. I like some of this album. Stiff Upper Lip in 2000 comes at number 10. Number 9, I'm going with Rick Rubin produced Ball Breaker from 1995. I love the way that this album sounds. I think it's a really solid AC/DC album. Stiff Upper Lip and Ball Breaker is sort of the transition from, elite AC/DC to the watered down stuff of the later years. Hard as a Rock opens up with, I like The Fuhrer, The Honey Roll, Hail Caesar, Love Bomb. Ball Breaker, good track too. I like the songwriting on this album. I love a lot of Rick Rubin produced stuff. I know he gets a lot of detractors and stuff like that because it's just so basic sounding or stripped back. on a lot of them, but I look at the artists or I look at the people he's produced and I'm like, well, it's still some of their best material from pretty much everybody he worked with. That's just my thoughts. Tom Petty, come on, man. Those are some of his best albums. Red Hot Chili Peppers, their best album, their first one, when they worked with him on Blood Sugar Sex Magic. I mean, he even did Mr. Hanky the Christmas Poo. I want to make a Rick Rubin video at some point because I just feel like a lot of hate in that one Discord I'm in. Number 8, I'm going with 1981's For Those About to Rock. So this is the last one that Mutt Lange produced for them. He did 3 in a row, Highway to Hell, Back in Black, and For Those About to Rock. Took over, I believe, from their brother George. I think he was their producer up until maybe Power Age. Familiar with the title track from, because we had the soundtrack to Who Made Who growing up. Love the track COD. It's almost like, once again, Amnesiac to Kid A, where this is sort of like the leftovers for Back in Black. They get the guitar sounds again of Back in Black, which I love. I love the way Angus sounds on Back in Black and this album, but the songwriting wasn't quite there. So they came in hot and heavy, Back in Black, and then For Those About to Rock came in. Debatable. I know some people, my Australian cousins, they absolutely love this one. So shout out to you guys. I hope you're doing good down there and you're saving some cold beer for me. Number 7 from 1977, I'm going with Let There Be Rock. And this was the album that kind of brought them international fame. Their third album here, that's what I could buy on the shelves as a kid. So that's where it starts for me. I realized they have Australian releases. I think they might even have like a European release too. Let There Be Rock. We've got Dog Eat Dog. George is on this one. Yeah, George Young, the producer, their brother. We have Dog Eat Dog, Let There Be Rock, Hell Ain't a Bad Place to Be, Whole Lot of Rosie. Those are incredible hard rock standards. Those are great songs. Dog Eat Dog is such a cool song. I love the way this album sounds. Let There Be Rock is one of their all-time greatest songs. It'll certainly be making my list very high. Obviously, the one that they rock out to the most at the live shows. I once considered getting that tattooed on me with the silhouette of Angus. Kind of glad I didn't do that, but anyways, I'm pretty glad about every tattoo I didn't get. Number 6, produced by Bruce Fairbairn, I believe over in Vancouver. Again, The Razor's Edge from 1990. Clearly my favorite of their albums, post Mutt Lange, was it Mutt Lange? Yeah, it was Mutt Lange. And lots of core memories. I mean, I grew up on this album. This was one of the first albums that I really got into. I don't know, came out as I was getting into Who Made Who around the same time. I remember the video even for Thunderstruck actually kind of scaring me the first time I saw it. Like I was not used to this heavy music at that yet, then loved it, a few months later. And so Thunderstruck, Fire Your Guns, Money Talks, The Razor's Edge, Mistress for Christmas, Are You Ready are all like some of my very favorite AC/DC songs. And I love the way that this is recorded. Once again, I love the way that Angus sounds on this album, the mix on Brian Johnson's voice, the only album without Phil Rudd that I really, really love. So this one has Chris Slade on it. The reason why Phil Rudd came back, or part of it, was because Malcolm had a drinking problem during the tour for Razor's Edge, and he had to actually get somebody to sub in and play for him on the show. He had to take a break from performing, and as he got cleaned up, he was watching the performances from the side stage and just said that it wasn't working anymore with Chris Slade. And Malcolm was, had the best musical ear of the group, him and Angus, and just the way they grew up and stuff like that. And so they made the decision to bring back Phil. And it was a great decision. So he's so tied into that sound with the group, and he just works so well with the rhythm section, AC/DC. So Thunderstruck, yeah, it has all those incredible songs, and I love The Razor's Edge, and I'm not afraid to admit it. Love it. Number 5, and it's like almost 5 stars. As far as like my favorites go, it's number 5, Back in Black from 1980. Hell's Bells, Shoot to Thrill, Back in Black, You Shook Me All Night Long, Have a Drink on Me, Shake a Leg, Rock and Roll, Ain't Noise Pollution. Not my most listened to AC/DC album, but certainly well versed, and I don't know a lot of people that aren't. My aunt from Vancouver gave this album to me on vinyl when I was actually pretty young. I didn't have a record player at that time, so it actually moved over to my neighbor's house. And then years later, like, how the hell did I end up with this AC/DC Back in Black? It's like, that was mine. This album was just playing all the time. It's still playing all the time. If I was new to it right now, it would be my favorite album right now. No doubt about it. But I'm not new to it, and that's kind of what drops it down to 5. Now we're in the world of streaming, so you're not listening to the radio as much as you used to, but used to work construction, man, this thing is played constantly. This is their tribute, I guess, to Bon Scott. Bon Scott had just passed away. They got Brian Johnson in there, and he didn't fill Bon Scott's shoes, but he put on his own shoes and took and led this band for 45 years now. And this album is made for Brian Johnson. So I couldn't imagine it with anybody but Brian Johnson singing it. Number 4, I'm going with Power Age from 1978. And I think this is the last one that their brother George helped with or worked on in the producer's chair, regarded as their best album by quite a few of the critics as well, and for good reason. I mean, it's a really cool album. It's gritty. It has some of their best songwriting on it. The first couple of albums, there's a lot more just blues rock, straight up blues rock. It's the way they're playing it that brings a lot of attention to them, but it's not that it's really that different. Whereas Power Age, they kind of expand the palette a little bit. I think that's what people love about it so much. Not to mention it has so many incredible songs. Riff Raff, Sin City in the middle, Rock and Roll Damnation. I like Up to My Neck in You. I like a lot of the tracks off of this album. So Power Age comes in at number 4 for Power Age. Number 3, Bon Scott's last album from 1979, Highway to Hell, the first of 3 albums produced by Mutt Lange. A lot of people have this one as their number 1. Highway to Hell, Girls Got Rhythm, Walk All Over You, Touch Too Much, Shot Down in Flames. If You Want Blood, You've Got It. Night Prowler, really good album. 5 stars-ish territory. This is the last one with Bon Scott. You know, they've been on a tear of incredibly great albums at this point. Tragic to lose Bon Scott. That's the end of an era. This album, Highway to Hell, Shot Down in Flames, Highway to Hell, 2, of my favorite songs growing up, period. 2 incredible tracks. I didn't realize that Shot Down in Flames was an AC/DC song though growing up. I thought it was I honestly thought it was Rolling Stones. Number two, I'm going with from 1976, Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap, their second album. Once again, strong songs. Now, the first 2 albums especially are very, very like blues orientated, blues rock, hard rock. But this kind of inspires some of my favorite sounding heavy metal to this day, which is like stoner rock or like Clutch. Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap. My buddy Tristan had the album. I'm pretty sure his dad didn't want him to buy the later albums. That stuff was crap. You got to buy these ones here. This is the old gold. Have a real tie to a lot of these songs. They're favorites. Squealer, incredible song. Big Balls, hilarious song. Loved playing that as a kid. I used to play it on a guitar too. Lots of fun. Ride On, still play it on a guitar. Jailbreak, still play that on guitar. Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap. Jailbreak wasn't on actually the version we had as a kid because I think it ended with Ride On. But anyways, Jailbreak, you got the Jailbreak 76, that other album or the EP. There are some versions of this album, Dirty Deeds with Jailbreak on it. And the title track, Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap, Problem Child, incredible album. Love Dirty Deeds, love Ride On. Love watching Angus back in the day playing the song. He had the sack on the side when he was the younger schoolboy. And I think there was an actual gig where they were all schoolboys. And Angus kept that outfit. There was a lot of different outfit attempts in the early days of ACDC, like dressing up Devo style. And number 1, that only leaves 1. Maybe it's controversial. I don't know. Is it? Well, I guess we'll find out in the comments below. But I'm going with High Voltage as their best album ever. AC/DC's best album, in my opinion, is their first international release, High Voltage. For me, I bought this CD. Whatever AC/DC album I wanted to buy, it was probably Razor's Edge. I was probably trying to buy that one. And I ended up buying High Voltage just because I had Angus on the cover. I bought it the same day that I bought NHL PA 93 on Super Nintendo. So it would have probably been in 1994. I remember just putting it into the CD deck when I got home and playing NHL 93. I don't know how much I played that game, but a lot. One of my most played video games growing up was NHL PA 93. And I had it on Super Nintendo. And so I remember I had my mom's little ghetto blaster the first time we had a CD player in our house beside the TV, put it in, listen to that, played NHL 93. One of my most listened to CDs is A Long Way to the Top, You Want to Rock and Roll Singer, The Jack, Live Wire, TNT, Rocker, Can I Sit Next to You, and High Voltage. Live Wire is such a great song. I love all of those songs. And that's why I was a huge Bon Scott fan as a kid. I love both Brian Johnson and Bon Scott to this day, and Brian Johnson is one of the greatest, nicest people in show business, period. And he deserves a lot of respect for being the lead singer of this band for 45 years. But growing up, this was the album I listened to the most by far. High Voltage. I'm giving it number one on my rankings. I haven't seen it there yet on anybody else's. Respect to ACDC. I am sorry I'm a little low on facts and high on opinions. Check out the channel, buy me some coffee, and let's talk some ACDC. Let me know what I missed, or how I completely screwed up these rankings in the comments below, and I will comment back. Check on the next one. Respect to ACDC. We out.